Now, let me ask you something. Do you have activity at your house?
Here's how I stop that. What I do is I'm very alert, first of all, because if the first sign of something out of the corner of my eye,
Mm-hmm.
a blinking light, I know what the triggers are for me. And I know when it's usually a ghost and not a demon. There are demons, there are devils, there are imps, there are goblins, there are elves, there are fairies, there are elementals. There are lots of angels, but not all of them look in the way that traditional people would think that they looked.
Hello, everyone, and my name is Misty Gaither, and welcome to Quest, a journey into true crime and the paranormal. And I am here with, she's like the girl next door who just writes ghost stories and just an amazing author, ML Bullock, everyone. So excited to have you here on the show. Now, you can tell like you're from the South, Alabama, Mississippi area. So, with your accent, and it's kind of nice having someone on the show with kind of like my accent in a way, and so that's makes it kind of homey. You've written around 160 books.
That's true.
That's very impressive. Now you're mostly write about paranormal romance.
No, ghost fiction,
Mm-hmm.
paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
but the romance is like the some parts of some stories,
Okay. Well, I was like, I
but
know I didn't dream that up.
no, you know what? You know what?
uh-huh.
Amazon will
Okay, that's where
sometimes
it
go in
is.
there.
I really, you started off, I believe, like your first book was around, in the series, The Seven Sisters, was around 2014. So that's been
Yes.
like, what, 10 years ago. And you
Mhm.
started your series. You have like the Seven Sisters series. You also have like the Ghost of Idlewood. What gave you the inspiration for your very first book when you decided this is what I want to do?
Back in 2014, my younger brother, I'm the oldest of four, and my younger brother was diagnosed with MS, and he fought like the Viking he was. I come from a Swedish Norwegian Viking heritage, and I'm the world's smallest Viking, by the way. But my brother fought for 16 months just for his life, and
Mhm.
writing Seven Sisters was kind of like my therapy.
Mhm.
I would spend the day with him and at the either the rehab or the hospital because he was back and forth. He had a very progressive, very awful form of MS. And I would come home and just cry and write about ghosts. I had no idea that that first book would be so powerful for people, and it was one book. I left it on a horrible cliffhanger, thinking, "Well, this is all I'm gonna write." And then I got bombarded with emails saying, "Hey, where's the rest of the story?"
Right.
So I started writing, and then I've had a lot of encounters with death, and I lost my brother was 34 when he died. His wife left him when he got diagnosed,
Oh.
so we got to deal with that. And then my father had a heart attack. And then I had a my father died. I had a heart attack. I didn't die. I had the Widowmaker, 98% block. My husband saved my life. And then my mother passed away of a heart attack. So death was just everywhere
Mhm.
around me. And I've always been sensitive to the paranormal since we lived in a haunted house in Ohio. Seven Sisters was just my escape bubble. Put all my angst and all my feelings into that book, and it's really the ground that I stand on. All the other books are just extra.
Now, how many books are in the Seven Sisters so far?
Okay, so Seven Sisters has the original series has 6 books in it. And then there are, I think there's 14 in total. And then there's like side series where, like, for example, she goes to Idlewood, which I love this cover. I made it, by the way.
You did that? Wow.
Yeah, I love doing art. I love art. Seven Sisters, Idlewood, A Return to Seven Sisters, Marietta. I feel like I'm missing one more. Gracefield. They're all related to Seven Sisters. The main character is Carrie Joe. She is a dream catcher, which is kind of like what I do. Is I have dreams and spirits visit me in dreams, and not always spirits. Sometimes it's not nice things, but that's just part of the paranormal world.
Yeah, because
But
sometimes you don't never know what you're going to get, because you were saying that ghosts are real, but that's not all that's out there.
I'm so amazed at people that are so close-minded about the supernatural. It's just amazing to me. Especially, and I don't want to make this thing about Christians and all that stuff because hey, I'm a follower of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
but the church I could care nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when I was in trouble, when I was dealing with demonic attachment, even after having this encounter, this great encounter with Jesus, and I still had this issue and went to my pastoral staff and said, "Hey, I need help." There was no help, and you had to find your own way. And I finally, after much work and tears and prayer and studying other people and listening to people, I learned that I needed to renounce this contract that I had. And so you hear about rebuking, you hear about
Right.
repenting. Everybody should repent, everybody should do all this stuff, but they don't tell you about renouncing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I had to do, was renounce that agreement that I made as a young person when I was dabbling in witchcraft, which was some people can do and it's great,
Mm-hmm.
but I just didn't have the education or the any intelligence. I just wanted what I wanted and made a horrible mistake
Mm-hmm.
and paid for it for like 20 years. I have mad respect for people that can work in witchcraft and not be, involved in deals and contracts. But you know, I did, and I got really screwed for a long time. I had a attachment that was really torturous, incubus actually. So I got free from that about 10 years ago.
So that is interesting about the incubus. A lot of
Yeah.
people may joke or, they don't understand everything that comes with that. That evidently, is not a good experience or something that you would want in your life. So I'm glad that you were able to get rid of that attachment. So you are also, not only are you an author, but you're also a psychic medium, or you just.
Yeah, I do a lot of that's the phrase that people resonate it resonates for people, so
Mm-hmm.
that's the phrase that I use. But usually what I really do, Misty, is I'm like a spiritual coach.
Okay.
And I was born with a lot of discernment, and it got developed quickly when 1976 when we moved into that house. So I help people figure out what's attached to them, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
I help people. Most of the time, I find that the ones that we love that pass away, oftentimes they use dreams to visit with us. But there are a few occasions where they'll be around. I don't summon. I'm not a necromancer,
Mm-hmm.
but if they're around and they have a message for the person that I'm ministering to, and I use that word broadly, okay? If whoever I'm helping, if there's something that comes through, then I give that to them. And I also, get impressions and share with them, and sometimes tarot, and just, I'm for people. My heart is really for children, though, Misty. Children like me that weren't believed, something's in my room, and you tell your parents and they don't believe you, and you have to deal with this thing. Shaking your bed, pulling you out of the bed, grabbing your feet, tormenting you. And my heart is really for families and kids. So I do a lot of residential work, residential cleansings. I work with children a lot. I give them the tools they need to fight back. And that's my heart. The stories bring me income to do the thing that I really love, and that's to help people that are spiritually oppressed.
Now, I think that that's really cool how that you're reaching out to children and all that, because I was one of those children that, was suppressed and had to go through I've talked about it a lot on the show about how, not being believed, and I used the phrase, I learned to shut up. And now to get to use my gifts and stuff, now I'm really blessed. But to have you, and that's like your goal, your mission, your calling, to help. And I just think that that's beautiful, because when you're so misunderstood, or you're not allowed to have that voice, and then you have someone like you to come in and say it's okay, and to make the child to feel believed and to feel respected and heard, more importantly. So I really think that that's real admirable of you, to do that, because you could.
Thank you very much.
You're
I do
welcome.
it for you. I do it for me. I do it for
Right.
all the little ones because I think parents are more open now. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, back, I don't, I feel like you're much younger than me. I'm 56. But
I'm
when
29.
oh, you're a baby.
Yes. No, I'm really not 29, but anyway.
You got me, girl. You
Yeah.
got me. But in the 70s, I mean, think about well, you were not probably around in the 70s, but all we had were Scooby Doo.
My
And
favorite.
and then in every case it was Old Man Winters or whoever.
Right.
It was no ghost, but you watched it, you hoped that you would, but it there was nobody. But whereas now we have great paranormal teams, we have a lot of people that can help, and so I'm really greatly excited about the future of paranormal research and being able to empower families and children and helping children, especially gifted children, teaching them that they can say to the ghosts, get out of my room. I'll meet you outside at 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning and I'll listen to your story. And once you can empower them and teach them, and then show them what to do, and how to protect themselves, then you got something to contribute, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Right. The importance of boundaries is so,
Exactly.
it's really important. Now, you were talking about the 70s, and I could tell when I was, doing my research on you and stuff, that's one of the decades that you really like kind of resonate with. And you were talking about the 70s movies, and, even though you kind of like you watch them now and the graphics are maybe not up to par as what they are now, but those movies back then, I mean, they scared and changed a lot of people's perception and everything about how that they looked at demons or haunted houses or the paranormal. And then you had like the Warrens and just different ones that kind of stepped out during that in that decade. One of the things that kind of, if you think about the Halloween costumes back in the 70s, remember the mask, and they were so stiff, and they had the Wonder Woman and the.
Did you have Wonder Woman? I had Wonder
I did
Woman.
have Wonder Woman.
Yay!
Ah,
Oh yeah, but I think my rubber band snaps like two
yes.
doors into it or whatever, so I'm walking around holding my Wonder
Or you
Woman
could see
cape
out of one
on.
eye and not the other,
Yeah.
because the mask would be. I
And then we'd
remember.
go home and watch the Charlie Brown special while all of us had dumped our candies in the floor and we're dividing it up. And back in those days was before people were putting pins and stuff in your candy.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I remember those days. Those were great. Although I've been a part of exorcisms and stuff, they weren't like that, but to see that they wanted to bring that to the public and make it real for them, that's really great. And I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about the Warrens, but I feel like they accomplished what they set out to do, and people are more aware. And the stories that they left behind are lessons. My lesson, if I was to teach somebody something, is don't whisper things in the dark because there's always something listening.
You know what? That is so very true. There's no secrets when you think about it, because somebody,
Mhm.
somewhere, something, somewhere. knows what's going on and
Mhm.
hears everything. So, you were talking about, like your experience as a child, and you were in Ohio Valley. And I'm wondering, because I noticed that, I do a lot of different interviews with people in the paranormal, and a lot of them are up north in like the Ohio, Illinois area, Wisconsin, Massachusetts, Maine. All that area is just ripe. Everybody wants to talk about Savannah and New Orleans, but the North is really rich with paranormal
It's
happenings.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's really horrible. Ohio to me is I lived in Mount Perry and it was a small town. We were very close to the Amish that where we lived. We lived in a small two-story colonial house. The kids' bedrooms, all of our bedrooms were upstairs. Our parents was downstairs. We would be in bed and would suddenly hear our mother scream, "Get in the bed before I whip your ASS's." No one would be up. So naturally, we're running to each other's beds then. Ohio. And you know the Foreman brothers. I've seen you interview them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're, I love them. I
They're
support them. I've met
amazing.
them.
Oh,
Uh, I got to meet them at CreepyCon this past year.
how
So that was
cool.
great. I'm a Patreon supporter of theirs, and I do similar to what they do. Only I work more with children and more one-on-one with people. And believe it or not, fans will reach out to me sometimes. And so if they're local, I can help. But I agree with you. The Northeast is rife with paranormal activity. They have the Serpent Mound in Ohio, which is really off the charts EMF. I've been to the Lizzie Borden house, and let me just tell you, I wouldn't go back.
It's that intense.
It's that bad.
Wow.
It's really that bad. And the thing that I didn't know going into that investigation was that there were murders in that house before Lizzie or whoever allegedly killed her father and stepmother. That there was a great uncle that had married a woman, and the cistern, the well for the
Mhm.
Borden family was in their basement. You probably already know this. I'm telling you something you already know. But the mother of the great aunt snapped one day and she had stair step children, I think 3, 2, and 1, or very close in age, took all of her children and just threw them in the well in the Lizzie Borden house in the basement. So when you go and do investigation in the Lizzie Borden house,
Mhm.
I got nothing of Lizzie personally.
Oh, okay.
All I got was those children and some creature, small, in the basement.
Like you said, there was already something there. And so you
Mhm.
wonder, was it something that influenced her to do it, or did she not even have anything to do with it, or who knows?
Yeah, for 100% we won't know. I
Right.
think she did it, but I
Mhm.
think she had reasons for doing it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think that it was a horrible way to go about ending a horrible situation, but I mean, in those days, you couldn't really go to officials and say, "Hey, my dad is doing these certain things," or "my stepmother," or whoever, whatever.
Mhm.
But I did find out that before the Borden house was built, it was like a farm, a dairy farm, and there had been hangings on the property. There had been
Oh.
mysterious murders on the property.
Mhm.
I mean, lots happened on the Borden property before Lizzie did what she did allegedly. So, I mean, it was a really horrible place. I was there January this year.
See, that's on my one of my bucket list is to go there. Now let me ask you something. Do you have activity at your house?
No.
You don't have any activity. So you don't bring
No.
anything, like, how sometimes when you go investigate and you have and it kind of comes with you, like sometimes that happens to me if I don't, like properly or
Here,
just,
well, here's how I stopped that
mhm.
because that was happening to me. So I know what you mean. And again, I'm really sensitive about the encounter that I had with the other thing. What I do is I'm very alert, first of all, because If the first sign of something out of the corner of my eye,
Mhm.
a blinking lights, I know what the triggers are for me. And I know when somebody, it's usually a ghost and not a demon. There are demons, there are devils, there are imps, there are goblins, there are elves, there are fairies, there are elementals. There are lots of angels, but they don't look, not all of them look in the way that traditional people would think that they looked. So there are a lot of things that are out there. And yeah, things do sometimes slide into the house. But the first inclination that I have, I'm saging immediately.
Right.
I'm telling that if it's a ghost, and you have a message for me, you're not allowed to jump me. You're not allowed to touch me. I don't
Mhm.
allow touching. Unless I'm doing a walkthrough. Psychic walkthroughs are different.
Right.
But in my home, no, it's off limits. And my son is a sensitive, and my husband is a former pastor demonologist.
Oh.
We actually, because of our belief system, believing that there are ghosts, not the Bible says that the dead in Christ are present with the Lord, but not everybody dies been marked by Christ. Not everybody has accepted the blood, you know.
Mhm.
So they're not at rest. They can be summoned by necromancers, they can be summoned with rituals. And so you have a lot of unsettled dead, murdered dead. I have had those strangest encounters with children spirits. And I don't normally, when I go on investigations, I'm very suspicious about children spirits because I feel like
Right. Yeah.
for the most part, they're gone. But occasionally that happens and I deal with it. But I sage my house after an investigation. I sage my body. I bathe in Epsom salts with rose essential oil
Mhm.
to make sure nothing is attached to me. I always sleep with I probably shouldn't be telling all this, but I sleep with 4 bowls of kosher salt on the corner under the corners of my bed
Okay.
so nothing can attach me, attack me, rape me, hurt
Mhm.
me.
Right.
I've had that experience with the other thing and I don't ever want that to happen again. Um, but so I do take precautions. I am like you. I have had one bad attachment, and that was at a jail that I visited with the searchers. And what was the name of that jail? Golly, I can't remember the name of it. It started with
That's
a
a
P.
Polly something.
Ollie
Polly. Yeah.
jail.
Yeah.
I left there with bruises. I got beat up so
Oh
bad.
wow.
And that was my fault because I went into it thinking this is just entertainment. There's not going to be anything in here. I was very wrong. And I got bruised. My whole arm was bruised. I went home hurting. And so, yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way.
I was just thinking of something, a show that would be perfect for you. Do you remember? It's been, I don't know, 10 years or more, that Chip Coffey used to do called Psychic Kids, and how he would mentor them and just like really bring out the how they were unsure of their gifts, or their parents didn't understand, or they didn't know, they were being bullied at school, or they really didn't know how to to coexist with their abilities. And I think that you would be perfect to do something like that.
And meeting Chip Coffee is literally on my bucket list.
I got to meet him.
Seriously. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I would, oh my gosh, I would so fangirl.
Oh yeah, there's
But
been
I would want to sit and listen and learn from a master. You know, it's so hard to find teachers, especially from in my background. You know, we
right,
served in ministry for like 25 years. I went to Bible college. I'm an ordained minister, but I believe in ghosts. So we ended up losing our church. Even though I love Jesus, that wasn't enough
right,
because according to the congregation, everything is a demon.
right.
And
Can I ask you
I
what
couldn't
religion?
change their non-denominational Christian.
Kind of Pentecostal, or
Sort of more like
more
Baptist.
the
Yeah,
non-denomination? Yeah, they don't. A lot of them don't privy to the ghost and stuff.
we didn't get along on a lot of things. Like I had I'm a free thinker.
Mm-hmm.
My husband less so, but because he loves me, he's like, I'm going with my wife, you know.
You're right.
But which he
Gotcha.
should, better for worse, right?
Right.
I don't know. I'm just think the world is just a bitter, bigger, bigger, bigger magical place than what we make it to be. I feel like God, Jesus, divine, whatever you want to call him, the divine, he is much more loving and forgiving and understanding than we appreciate. And there's so much I could say, but I don't want to take up all the time. And
I would love to have you back on again. I'm hoping I get to meet you in person next month. If not,
me too.
definitely soon. It's been a joy to talk to you and everyone. Y'all be sure to check out ML Bullock's the Seven Sisters series. She has 160 books.
If they want a signed copy, like this is my life story, delivered me from evil.
Hmm.
And it talks about the haunted house and how we got
Okay,
to where we are now. So it's kind of like my life story if they wanted to start with that just to know who I am. But most everything else is fictional. I would go and visit haunted locations and pick up pieces of stories from spirits that I met. But there's no possible way that I can know every single thing. So
true.
a lot of it is fiction because I have to make the stories, cohesive. But
Right.
they can go to mlbullock.com and order a signed paperback of anything that I've written. I also do like scare boxes where they get a book, tarot cards, sage,
Oh,
whatever.
that's cute. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love doing those 4 times a year. I just wrapped up the summer scare boxes. And I'm already taking orders for the Halloween ones, and those are going to be really great. That story is really going to be a good story. It's called Falls of the Shadow. So,
Mm, nice.
yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Just so honored I always say to have met you, but like I said,
Oh,
hopefully next month, that we'll get to meet in person. So everybody, we have ML Bullock. Go to Amazon or her website to pick up a book, and I know she'll appreciate it, and I know you'll appreciate it anymore because a wonderful author. I really appreciate your stance and your about children and wanting to help them, and that just goes to show you how you're even more amazing than what I thought. So thank
um,
you so much for being on the show.
thank you, Misty. Thank you for giving me this platform and giving me the chance to reach out to families and let them know that there's hope out there.
Yes, there is. So everyone, thank you so much. My journey continues into the paranormal in my quest to find out more. So I will see you next week. Have a good night.
Night.